The late summer air hung thick over the fading streets of Pine Hollow, a small southern town with more ghosts than growth. The only sound inside the faded walls of Clara's kitchen was the slow squeak of the ceiling fan and the rhythmic scrub of a dish rag across an old countertop. Clara Monroe, a young black woman with work-worn hands and eyes that held too many memories, was cleaning for the third time that morning. It wasn't that the diner was dirty, it was that her nerves were frayed, her thoughts tight with worry. The breakfast rush had come and gone, though calling it a rush was generous. For farmers, 2 truckers, and a silent couple who ordered oatmeal and left without speaking. That was it. Clara mentally counted the till, stomach sinking. It wouldn't cover the electric bill, let alone her father's mounting hospital costs. Just a few more months, she murmured to herself, pushing a tight curl behind her ear, the same mantra she'd whispered since leaving Charlotte to return home. She'd taken over the diner after her father, Elijah Monroe, suffered a stroke. His voice and right side were gone, but his spirit remained in every chipped plate and creaking booth. The bell above the door jingled. Clara turned and froze. A towering man stood in the doorway, his black leather jacket worn and sun-faded, his beard a wild tangle of gray. Tattoos coiled up his arms, and across his back stretched the unmistakable insignia of the Grim Reaper's Motorcycle Club. A skeletal reaper clutching a scythe. The remaining diners went stiff. Old Mrs. Burnham clutched her pearls. Dean Riggs, who ran the feed store, lowered his coffee with a nervous clink. Even the radio hissed to static as if the building itself held its breath. The biker strode toward the counter, his boots thudding with the weight of quiet storms. He took the stool furthest from the others and hunched his broad shoulders like a man trying to disappear. Clara swallowed, her father's voice echoing in her head. Everyone's money spins the same. She grabbed a menu, poured a glass of water, and approached. "Welcome to Clara's," she said, her voice steady by force. "Today's special is chicken fried steak with mashed potatoes. Fresh this morning." The man looked up. His eyes, pale blue and rimmed in red, met hers with a weariness that knocked the breath from her lungs. They weren't the eyes of a man looking for trouble. They were the eyes of a man carrying it. "Coffee," he said. "Black. Whatever's hot." As she poured from the scratched pot, she noticed his hands. Big, calloused, and trembling. A hospital bracelet peeked from under his sleeve. "Long ride still ahead?" she asked. "Back to Pine Hollow, General," he replied, voice gravel thick with fatigue. "My daughter, she's in stage 4. He didn't finish the thought. Clara placed the mug before him gently. "Eggs and toast coming up. 6 minutes." Whispers slithered across the diner. Clara ignored them. She knew what they were thinking. But she also knew what was right. And she'd never been the type to flinch from doing right. The bell jingled again, sharper, colder. Clara didn't need to look. She felt the shift in the air. Officer Brent Harlan and Deputy Renee Collins entered, their badges gleaming in the sunlight. Brent's boots tapped arrogantly against the floor. His gaze locked on the biker, and a slow, smug grin curled his lips. "Well, look what the wind blew in," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The biker didn't respond. He stared into his coffee. Clara braced herself. "Just having breakfast, officer," the man said. Brent leaned against the counter, too close. "Maybe we should check his ID. Make sure he's not one of the Reapers we heard about. Drugs. Guns. Trouble." The biker slowly reached into his jacket. Brent's hand dropped to his holster. "Brent," Clara snapped. "He's a customer. He hasn't done anything." "He's wearing that patch," Brent said. "That tells me all I need to know." The biker looked up. "You don't know a damn thing about me." The room was silent. Clara stepped forward. "We don't judge by patches in this diner. We judge by actions. That man hasn't broken a single law. You don't get to harass people just because you don't like how they look." Brent's smirk vanished. "You're making a mistake, Clara. This town remembers who sides with who." The biker reached for his wallet, but Clara blocked his hand. "Your money's no good today. Breakfast is on me." He blinked. Gratitude flickered across his worn features. Brent scoffed and threw a crumpled bill on the counter. "Let's go, Renee." The bell rang behind them like a warning shot. After they left, the biker stood, adjusted his jacket, and said, "Name's Tom Maddox." "Thank you." "Clara Monroe." "Safe travels, Mr. Maddox." He nodded once and left. The diner buzzed with whispers. Clara ignored them. That night, she visited her father in the hospital and told him everything. "You raised me to stand up for what's right," she whispered, gripping his hand. "Today, I think I did." The next morning, the diner sat empty. No regulars. No tips. Just the oppressive silence of small-town disapproval. Until the bell rang. Two people entered. A man and a woman, both in their 50s. Their jackets bore subtle but unmistakable patches. "Clara Monroe?" the man asked. She nodded. "I'm Ray Maddox. This is my wife, Lila. Tom's brother. He told us what happened." They shook hands. Warm. Firm. Respectful. "How's his daughter?" Clara asked. "Still fighting," Lila said, voice heavy. "But he said you were kind. That matters." They stayed for coffee. And just as they finished, Ray said, "We wanted to thank you. Not with money. With something better. Support." Clara tilted her head. "Support." A rumble echoed in the distance. Like thunder. Then louder. Closer. Clara stepped outside and gasped. Motorcycles. Dozens. No, hundreds. Grim Reapers from across the state roared into town, lining the street in front of Clara's kitchen. The sound faded as they parked, dismounted, and stood quietly. "What is this?" she whispered. "You treated one of us like a person," Lila said. "We don't forget that." Inside, riders filled every booth and stool. Locals trickled in, stunned. Some sat. Some stared. Then one brave voice broke the tension. "You still got those biscuits, Clara?" asked Marvin, an old classmate. "Always," she said with a smile. The room filled with laughter, stories, and cautious conversations. Then the bell rang again. A massive man entered, his vest bearing bold letters, President, Grim Reapers, Midlands Chapter. He grinned, hand outstretched. "You must be Clara." "I'm Malcolm Granger." He addressed the room. When others judged, she offered kindness. "Loyalty matters to us. From now on, Clara's kitchen rides under our protection." Cheers erupted. Later, a leather vest was gifted to Clara embroidered with "Friend of the Reapers." Protected. Inside, a note in Tom's shaky handwriting read, "Thank you for seeing the man, not the jacket." Jessie smiled again. "She can't wait to meet you." From that day forward, the diner thrived. Travelers, bikers, locals, they all came. And Clara, standing beneath her father's photo and beside that black leather vest, served them all. One cup of coffee at a time. The late summer air hung thick over the fading streets of Pine Hollow, a small southern town with more ghosts than growth. The only sound inside the faded walls of Clara's kitchen was the slow squeak of the ceiling fan and the rhythmic scrub of a dish rag across an old countertop. Clara Monroe, a young black woman with work-worn hands and eyes that held too many memories, was cleaning for the third time that morning. It wasn't that the diner was dirty, it was that her nerves were frayed, her thoughts tight with worry. The breakfast rush had come and gone, though calling it a rush was generous. For farmers, 2 truckers, and a silent couple who ordered oatmeal and left without speaking. That was it. Clara